different way than in other exams. Some of the questions which are quite difficult, like multiple choice questions or highlight correct summary, are not important questions, but instead there are other questions which you may have found quite easy are very important. In this video we are going to discuss the scoring of PTE, how you get points for different question types, and how that can help you to form strategies for your test. Let's get it started. If you're new to this channel, my name is Roman. I'm the founder of Roman PTE, and in this video I'm going to talk about some of the important things about PTE scoring criteria. Starting from speaking, I will tell you the scoring for every question type. How many points do you get for each question type? For example, if you're doing read aloud, how many points you get for speaking and how many points you get for reading. For your information, we upload one video every week, so if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe now and click the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our future uploads. So let's get started. Okay, the first question type we are going to discuss is speaking. In speaking, we get 5 different types of questions, and speaking is the only section in your exam which is not affected by any other section, but speaking can affect your score in reading as well as in listening. So the most important question in speaking is read sentence, which carries 32 points. Now, this is an estimated scoring criteria, and the actual score might be a little different, but this will help you to get an idea about how the scoring is done in the actual test. After repeat sentence, the other important question is read aloud, which carries 22 points. After repeat sentence, the next important question is read aloud, which carries 22 points. After read aloud, the next question is describe image. Describe image, as long as your fluency and pronunciation are good and the content is relevant, you will get full score. So if you find describe image more difficult than other questions, just use this trick. Try to read what you see on the image and then make sure that you can speak fluently and clearly. For the pronunciation part, you have to keep in mind stress, intonation, and rhythm. And for this, if you can vary your tone when you are speaking, and if you can read in blocks, it will help you to get the score you desire. Read a lecture is the next important question in speaking, but it carries only 11 points. You can see that it carries half the point read aloud or describe image carry. That's why do not spend too much time practicing this question, but be familiar with the question type. Most of the questions are read a lecture repeat all the time, and read a lecture questions might also come in summarize spoken text and vice versa. So when you're practicing read a lecture, it can be a good idea to practice summarize spoken text at the same time, or when you're practicing summarize spoken text and you have written in your answer, try to retell them as a lecture as well. That way you'll be good at both the sections. Now the last question type here is short answer question. These questions are not so important and they carry only 3 points towards the speaking. So you can see here, if you are struggling in speaking, then you must focus more on repeat sentence followed by read aloud and describe image. Read a lecture and answer short questions are not so much important for speaking, but since this is an integrated test, you also have to remember that these questions contribute a score towards other sections as well. That's why you have to think about the importance and influence of these questions on other sections, especially listening. Some of the less important questions like read a lecture and answer short questions are relatively more important for listening. The next question type we are going to discuss is writing. Now, a traditional wisdom in writing is that essay questions are very important, because in the other tests like IELTS, we have been told that if we don't write essays well, then we don't get the points. Surprisingly, in PTE, essay is not a very important question. That is the reason why when some people ask me, like if I do only writing classes, then I tell them no, because writing is an integrated test and its score comes from other question types as well, which are asked in listening and in reading. So the most important question in writing actually is dictation, which contributes 27 points to your writing score. That's why you need to be very good at dictation. In order to improve your score in dictation, make sure that your sentence starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. And make sure that you can spell the word correctly. One of the problems people face while doing dictation is homophone. These are the words which sound similar but are spelled differently. That's the reason why you always have to think about the context and make appropriate choices. So this might be surprising for some of you that dictation actually is more important question than essay writing. But remember, dictation definitely is more important question and you should practice more dictation. Another important thing about dictation is you get a lot of repetition in dictation, and if you are one of our enrolled students, you'll find that the questions we have on the portal, 150 selected dictation questions, are the questions you'll get in your test most of the times. So yes, one way of improving your dictation is by practicing a lot, and the other way is by doing these questions and making sure that you know how to spell each and every word in the list. The next important question in writing is reading and writing fill in the blanks, which contributes 22 points. This is a special type of question from my perspective. The reason for that is this question is very confusing and very difficult as well. That is the reason why I often focus on this question type in the class as well as for our online students. If you are not that good in this question, it becomes extremely difficult to score in writing. So make sure that you have gone through all the questions we have on the portal. There are around 150 questions. If you go through these questions, it will be more than enough. But let's say if you are not an enrolled student, in that case you can simply practice as many reading and writing fill in the blanks questions as possible from the sources you are using for your preparation, but at the same time make sure that you remember the meaning of the words that you see in the option. And there are three things you have to practice when you are doing reading and writing fill in the blanks. First is AWL, which stands for Academic Word List. The second one is academic phrases. Just search for academic phrases on Google. You'll find it freely on different websites. And the next one that you should be practicing more is prepositional phrases. Now, prepositional phrases are word and preposition combination. In English, certain words take only certain types of preposition, and this is often asked in your exam. So make sure that you have done this for the test. Summarize the spoken text is the third important type of question, which carries 12 points. This question comes in listening. Now you can see that, as I told you, writing is assessed not just in writing but also in reading and listening as well. Dictation and summarize the spoken text are listening question, whereas this reading and writing fill in the blanks comes in reading. Now, the next question type that you should be focusing on is essay. So as I said, essay is not the most important type of question, unlike in other English tests. So make sure that you know how to write essays. There are three types of essays you are often asked in the exam. They are agree or disagree essay, advantage and disadvantage essay, and problem and solution essay. Sometimes they ask a mixed type of essay where they ask agree, disagree with problem, solution, and so on. So make sure that you are familiar with all the essays. Now, essay questions also repeat all the time, so familiarize yourself with the different topics and answer the questions, write them, make sure you can do it within 20 minutes and get feedback for your performance so that you know that you are doing the right thing. Once you think and once you know that you are able to write good essays, maybe not a perfect one, but you can at least write a good essay, that's the time for you to stop. The next one is summarized written text. Summarized written text carries 10 points. These questions come in writing. So these are the only two questions which come in writing, essay and summarized written text. Summarized written text, you just have to grab the ideas from the passage and then write them in your answer. For this, you can simply get 2 or 3 ideas from the passage as it is, connect them with the linking words and make small changes. That way you will not be making that many mistakes and still you'll get the score. But in order to find out whether you did it in the right way or not, get in touch with us. The last question type is fill in the blanks, and this is the fill in the blanks in listening. Here it is very important for you to spell the word correctly, and the word should be in the correct grammatical form. Be careful about singular and plural when you are doing fill in the blanks, and also read about homophones. So as I said earlier as well, homophones are really important for your test. You need to learn homophones for dictation and fill in the blanks questions, because often you hear one thing but when you try to write they do not make any sense in the context, and then you start wondering, or you just end up writing the same thing. Sometimes if you do not know that there is another word with the same pronunciation, you may not even think about it. So for writing questions, if there are 3 things that I think you should be thinking about, they are: make sure you know about the academic word list, go through the homophones, and improve your spelling. If you are careful about these 3 things, of course 100% your writing score will improve. Now the next one is reading. Reading is assessed in almost every section. It is assessed in speaking, it is assessed in writing, it's of course assessed in reading, and then it is assessed in listening as well. In speaking, the questions like read aloud are very important for your reading score. Read aloud contributes 23 points. Many students do not realize the importance of read aloud and spend less time practicing questions there. Because of that, in the exam, they score less. Another confusion here is people think that if they score 90 in speaking, that means they are perfect in speaking, they are not making any mistake there. But you have to remember this. Even if you are scoring 90 in speaking, you may have been making mistakes in read aloud, which is reducing your score. So it's really important that you know about those mistakes and correct them in time, so that you don't waste your time and energy repeating the same mistake. Then the next important question type for reading is reading and writing fill in the blanks, which carries 23 points. And you can see that read aloud and reading and writing fill in the blanks both are equally important. And for your information, read aloud comes in speaking, and reading and writing fill in the blanks, this comes in reading. The third important type of question is fill in the blanks, which carries 15 points. It comes in reading and it does not affect any other section. The fourth important type of question is summarize written text. This question comes in writing. You have already seen that this question is an important question for writing as well as an important question for reading and contributes almost same score towards both writing and reading, around 10 points. Then the next question type which is important here is highlight incorrect words. In this question type, you are simply supposed to click on the word which are wrong, but remember this question has negative marking, so be careful not to be careful and don't click on the words which you are not confident enough, otherwise you might lose the score you have already got. Reader paragraph is the next important question type, but it carries 7 points. Now, one more thing, many students find reader paragraph very confusing, and even after practicing a lot, they still complain that they can't answer the question perfectly. Now, if you look at the scoring criteria, you can easily see that reader paragraph does not carry that many points. It just carries 7 points. So, from my perspective, if you can get at least more than 50% of the questions right most of the times, then you are almost ready for your test. Of course, that also means that you are good in the other questions that I mentioned before this. Multiple choice questions of both types, single right answer and multiple right answers, are not important. Do not waste too much time in them because together they contribute only 4 points towards your reading. So this is one of the big difference between IELTS and PTE. In IELTS, these questions, multiple choice questions, are important. They carry 1 point towards the 40 points you are given for that particular section in IELTS, which is later on converted to a 9-band score. But here, they carry just 4 points out of 90. And you can clearly see that they are not as important as the other questions I mentioned here. Both multiple choice questions come in reading. So in reading section proper, you get multiple choice questions of 2 types, then read a paragraph, then reading and writing, fill in the blanks, and fill in the blanks. These are the 5 questions you get in reading, and rest of the questions, read aloud, you get in speaking, summarize written text, you get in writing, and highlight incorrect words, you get in listening. And one more thing which I have not written here is highlight correct summary. I'm sorry about that, I forgot to write it here. Highlight correct summary is another question that also contributes to reading, and this contributes around 2 points only. So keep that in mind as well. Now the next section is listening. Listening, 3 important questions are repeat sentence, dictation, and summarize the spoken text. Repeat sentence carries 20 points, dictation carries 20 points, and summarize the spoken text carries 13 points. Repeat sentence comes in speaking, dictation comes in listening, summarize the spoken text also comes in listening. Then written lecture is another important question which gives you 10 points towards your listening score. As I told you in the beginning of this video, written lecture is not a really important question for speaking if we compare it with the other question types asked in speaking, but for listening it becomes one important question as you get around 10 points from this question. So this one comes in speaking. Followed by written lecture, we have highlight incorrect words and fill in the blanks, both of which are important questions and carry 8 and 7 points. Now the rest of the questions that I have written in gray here, like the multiple choice question, multiple right answer, highlight correct summary, multiple choice question, single right answer, and select missing words, all of them are not so important for your test, and you can see that together they carry only 6 points. So even if you miss all of them, you can still get 84 out of 90. And that's why my suggestion is when you are doing these questions, try your best to get the answer, but if you are not sure what is the answer, don't waste too much time thinking about it, because you might miss the other important questions, especially dictation, because this is the question that you get at the end of the test. So if you miss dictation, you know that you are missing 20 points, and let's say that you had 4 questions, missing 1 question means you are missing 5 points, and after that it becomes very difficult to get your desired score. Answers or question is one interesting type of question here. In speaking it carries only 3 points, but in listening it carries 6 points. So comparatively it's more important in listening, as I told you in the beginning of the video. Now based on everything I told you here, you may have felt a little confused here, and that's quite understandable. This test is quite jumbled up in terms of how it is integrated. One section has impact on the other section has impact on the other, and it becomes really difficult to keep track of this. So what I suggest is watch this video multiple times and pay attention to those questions which carry more points. In summary, the questions which are important are: you have to be very good at write from dictation, you have to be very good at repeat sentence, you have to be very